And the last topic for today's lecture, I wanted to talk about neuroglia. Neuroglia are specialized nerve cells. They're specialized nervous system cells. So neuroglia are specialized nervous system cells that assist neurons in their living state. Neuroglia do not create action potentials. That means they do not create those electrical impulses that travel throughout the body. Instead, they have a variety of functions that is aimed to assist the neurons. So in this diagram, we're going to examine the examples of neuroglia. In yellow, we have neurons. The neurons are those cells of the nervous system that make up nerves, they make up brain, they create these action potentials, the electrical impulses that fire through the body. And other cells colored in various colors around them here is the neuroglia. We're going to study 4 types of neuroglia present in the brain, starting with these cells called astrocytes. Astrocytes are the most numerous neuroglia. They are indicated in purple. They look a little bit like neurons. They look like they have a cell body, the dendrite looking projections, and kind of like the axon. This is a neuroglia called astrocytes, and neuroglia generate the blood-brain barrier. So you can see the astrocytes situated along the blood vessels. This is a blood vessel. The inside of the blood vessel, there's blood. Outside of the blood vessel, we have astrocytes pressing up against these blood vessels to prevent harmful substances from entering the brain tissue and affecting the neurons negatively. Astrocytes can also help the neurons to receive nourishment from the ependymal cells that create the cerebrospinal fluid. So by creating cerebrospinal fluid, these ependymal cells that are situated like a carpet very closely together, like little bricks, ependymal cells, they create cerebrospinal fluid from blood. Cerebrospinal fluid contains lots of nutrients, and the astrocytes are able to extract the nutrients or extract the oxygen from these ependymal cells or water and feed it directly to the neurons. So what astrocytes do is they basically help the neurons to receive the chemicals, nutrients, and oxygen that they need for their living. Ependymal cells create cerebrospinal fluid that circulates around the brain. The third type of neuroglia will be study is microglia. Microglia are tiny neuroglia, therefore their name. They look very much similar to the astrocytes, except for they have just lots of short little tentacles without this long axon looking like structure. The function of microglia is immune. So what they do is they fight microbes and they clean up various debris that is created by dead or damaged cells, among other functions. The last type of the neuroglia will be oligodendrocytes, which means oligo means many, dendrocytes means kind of like tentacles, these appendages they have. So these oligodendrocytes are in pink, and what they do is they create myelin sheets around the neurons. You can see this is a cell body of the oligodendrocytes, and this is its projections creating the myelin sheets around the axons of the neuron, which actually chemically insulates this neuron, electrically insulates this neuron, and prevents the loss of the action potential as it travels through the neuron. And that action potential can reach the body, from the body to the end of the axon much quicker than without the myelin sheets. Here's the summary of the functions of these neuroglial cells. The astrocytes, they give nervous tissue support and structure, protect and nourish neurons, create a blood-brain barrier, and help form, break, and maintain synapses, the connections of neurons to other neurons and in the brain specifically, because these are the so all of these are the neuroglia present in the brain and the spinal cord, but not in the nerves, because nerves belong to the peripheral nervous system. They have different types of neuroglia assisting them. So here we're only talking about the connections between the neurons and other neurons, because there's only neurons in the brain and the spinal cord. When it comes to peripheral nervous system, the neurons are able to make connections to the muscle cells and gland cells. So there's going to be a little bit more diversity in this type of synapses. Microglia act as macrophages. Those are the cells of the immune system performing phagocytosis. That means eating up of debris and bacteria or viruses, whatever gets inside of the brain. Oligodendrocytes, also known as the Schwann cells in nerves. So oligodendrocytes present in central and peripheral nervous system. When they are in the brain or spinal cord, they're called oligodendrocytes. When they are in the nerves of the peripheral nervous system, they're called the Schwann cells. What they do is they perform myelination of the axons. And last type is ependymal cells. Ependymal cells line the walls of the brain ventricles, so they form the choroid plexuses, and they form also a one-cell layer to filter blood plasma through themselves to make cerebrospinal fluid. So the function of ependymal cells is to make cerebrospinal fluid in the ventricles of the brain, together with the choroid plexuses, the tiny blood vessel capillaries that line the walls of the ventricles of the brain.